we're going to resume with health psychology. ठीक है ना? The first section, the first chapter, we completed the first section. Thought about the second section. In fact, 66% of the second section. Now we're going to talk about again. You've seen it, right? This entire section, right, is going to be known as the style and diagnosis. So we have done the style. Now we're going to focus on the diagnosis. So last lecture we talked about doctor-centered, patient-centered. Then we found out which is better, which is preferred. Now we're going to talk about the diagnosis. This is nothing, ठीक है? इसके अंदर रट्टा लगाने के diagnosis कौन से type के होते हैं? और the misdiagnosis कौन से perform हो सकते हैं? So there's type 1 and type 2. Type 1 and type 2 error, right? Type 2 के अंदर what you say is that a person may have a condition, but the doctor says that they don't have a condition. And type 1 के अंदर the person does not have a condition, but the doctor says you have a condition, right? So let's suppose you have cancer. If the doctor says you don't have cancer, that's a type 2 error. But say you actually have cancer, but the doctor said you don't. But if you don't have cancer and doctor says you have cancer, that's type 1. And so both of these errors can occur, but one of them is more dangerous than the other, right? Can you figure out which one is more dangerous? Type 1 or type 2?
Type 2.
Type 2 जबरदस्त, right? क्योंकि it's better to be safe than sorry. यहाँ पे बंदे को कैंसर नहीं भी है ना, और कैंसर ट्रीटमेंट की तरफ जा भी रहा होगा, still not gonna harm him as much as compared to cancer है, उसको इलाज नहीं मिल रहा, क्योंकि टाइप 2 के अंदर इलाज नहीं मिल रहा होता आपको. So there's different names for it. जो type 2 है, right? जहाँ पे कहते हो कि the sick person is well, उसको हम कहते हैं false negative. So क्या मतलब है? Type 2 के अंदर you say the person is well when they're sick. So you're saying the person has a negative condition, as in he's not cancer positive, he's cancer negative. But that information is false. See, so that's why false negative. जैसे you say कि कोरोना के टेस्ट के अंदर the person has a negative result, but in fact if they do have corona, so that negative is a false. Oppositely, if you say the person doesn't have corona, if you say the person doesn't have corona but they have corona in an actual sense, right? Yeah, sorry. If the person doesn't have corona, but they say they have corona, right? So that's going to be false positive, because you're saying they are corona positive, but in fact they're not. So it's a false positive, false negative. So type 1, type 2 के अंदर you just have to know कि type 1 किसको कहते हैं, false positive किसको कहते हैं, type 2 के अंदर false negative किसको कहते हैं, and that's it. ठीक है ना? Yes, you should supposed to know the basic distinction. ठीक है ना? Such as this, type 2 error is when a practitioner declares that a person is well, when rather in fact they are ill. Same as same type of these. इसके अलावा there's nothing more to it. ठीक है ना? These errors are all हमेशा going to be present, right? Whether it's in the treatment stage, whether it's in the consultation stage, ये हमेशा कहीं ना कहीं आता है. Treatment के अंदर भी आ सकता है, consultation के screening के अंदर, but you don't need to remember that. All you need to know that is like there are two type of errors, and ये हम डॉक्टर को सिखा सकते हैं in the initial training to be watchful for these errors, right? So these are highly applicable. There's no sense in going about whether it's question aaya tha? Someone had a question? Okay, never mind. So these are applicable, right? You can teach these concepts in class, right? उसके अलावा there's no point in determinism versus free will का. You don't have to study about that. Nature यहाँ पे applicable, कुछ भी नहीं होगा, it's just applicable. You can say that it is individual versus situational in the sense that the younger doctors are more likely to make mistakes than senior doctors. So these errors can come down to individual factors, experience, rather than situational. So yeah, individual versus situational can be applicable. You can also say, बल्कि you cannot say about any other issues क्योंकि वहाँ पे applicable नहीं होगा. So there's this research, ठीक है ना, which says that, you know what, why do doctors make error, right? And which type of doctors make error? So इन्होंने कहा कि भाई the trainee doctors, जो younger doctors होते हैं, they make errors, and the reason they make errors is because they they don't consult with the senior doctors, right? They वो खुद बहुत कर होते हैं. The less they consult with the senior doctors, the more errors they make. ठीक है ना? Same result as this. ठीक है ना? ये भी ये था कि younger doctors make more errors because they don't consult their future more experienced, they're more senior, more experienced doctors. That's why they make errors. So again, experience is a factor. So it is an individual versus situational का individual के अंदर आ जाएगा. All right. Now we're going to talk about this another study, right? Disclosure of information. Uske baad we're going to move on to the next section. So this is the fourth study in your section, the health psychology. Under we have a first section just going to chart studies, and right, we have the two styles body study, the Brian Long and the Savage and Armstrong, which we did in previous class. Then we have the type 1, type 2 errors. Next we have the disclosure of information. ये disclosure of information का slide number 39 is not gonna be your क्या कहते हैं your main slide. The main slide is gonna be from slide 40 जिसके अंदर experiment हो रहा होता है. Robinson and West का experiment है. So what Robinson and West are gonna do in this experiment is they wanna find out, right? And you can apply it on your own if you've ever been to a hospital. वहाँ पे as a participant तुम किस तरह react करते हैं. Robinson and West in 1992 they want to find out कि भाई which method of collecting data gets the most information out of patients. Are people comfortable with face-to-face method, your traditional method of that, or are people comfortable with writing it on paper rather than telling the doctor directly, or are people comfortable typing it on a laptop in a digital document, then writing it down? So you have one digital format, we have one paper pencil format, and the other face-to-face format, right? You want to know which is the most effective way to collect data. सबसे ज़्यादा data किस में आएगा? So to find this experiment, right, to do this experiment, what they do, Robinson and West, they select what 69 people, 633 male, 36 females, right? Obviously equal amount of gender. These male and female patients, right? They are from the GU clinic. GU clinic का मतलब होता है कि obviously some geriatric urinary clinic, something like that. So वहाँ पे they have some urinary infection वाला thing. So whatever results that you're gonna get in this experiment, please understand कि हो सकता है कि if people of other medical conditions were used in this experiment, हो सकता है उनका information अलग आएगा. क्योंकि obviously some medical conditions are more personal than the other, right? Especially if it's urinary tract infection वगैरह. So obviously results may vary according to conditions. So this is not generalizable क्योंकि England के लोग हैं may not represent the entire world, may not represent any other disorder as well. भारत. So you have 69 people. They were randomly divided into two conditions, right? 37 ended up in the computer condition, and 32 ended up in the paper questionnaire condition. So it's an independent matrix design, right? And both the groups, whether it's the laptop group or the questionnaire group, उनको एक instruction दिया जाता है. You know what? Whatever problem you have, ठीक है ना, medically, अकॉर्डिंग टू कंडीशन जो भी है, उसकी सारी हिस्ट्री जो होगी ना टाइप करके रखो इफ इट्स लैपटॉप, और सारी जो हिस्ट्री होगी ना वो पेंसिल के थ्रू क्वेश्चन पे लिखो इफ इट्स ए पेपर पेंसिल ग्रुप, राइट? सो दे हैव टू राइट देयर हिस्ट्री. उसके बाद once they fill out the laptop or once they fill out the questionnaire, depending on whatever condition you are at the end of the day supposed to meet a real live doctor. So whatever you do यहाँ पे, whether you're the laptop guy or the paper pencil guy, at the end of the day you're gonna still meet a
Sir,
doctor. Yeah.
I want to ask why were like using people with medical condition in their past?
All right. So basically, see, this is the aim of the experiment is which method, right? Paper, pencil, or laptop, or face to face gets you the most amount of data, right? In a medical setup. So obviously, medical setup के लिए you need people coming in with medical conditions, right? Patients होना लाजमी होगा. They cannot be non-patients, or else it won't apply to them.
Okay.
So
सर पार्टिसिपेंट वेरिएबल्स हम कैसे काउंटर करेंगे? फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आप अगर असाइन करते हैं जिस ग्रुप को टेक्नोलॉजिकल एस्पेक्ट वो मे बी मोर कंफर्टेबल ना हो पेपर पेन पे, हाउ डू यू काउंटर दोज पार्टिसिपेंट वेरिएबल्स?
Random allocation. Uh, you guys know what you know what random allocation is, obviously, but you do know how it works, right? Well, okay. This you basically you're asking a question. Okay, you know what? If we have a school can we have a team, right? Of in our PT sports period, whatever, and you know what? Our sir makes a team, and you know what? At the end of the day, what if one team gets all the good players and we're stuck with all the players who are not good? Isn't that unfair? It is unfair, and you're basically asking the same thing. So what the sir does is, you know what? He flips a coin, head tails, and इट डज नॉट मैटर नाउ कि कौन सेलेक्ट होगा, ठीक है ना, क्योंकि हेड ऑफ टेबल से सेलेक्ट करेंगे ना, सो हो सकता है कि ऑल द गुड प्लेयर्स एंड ऑल द बैड प्लेयर्स विल नॉट एंड अप इन वन ग्रुप अलग से, हो सकता है इट्स गोना बी अ मिक्सचर ऑफ गुड एंड बैड प्लेयर्स इन वन ग्रुप एंड मिक्सचर ऑफ गुड एंड बैड प्लेयर्स इन द अदर ग्रुप. सो रैंडम एलोकेशन के अंदर यू गोना हैव दैट ऑप्शन एज वेल कि यू माइट हैव पीपल गुड विद लैपटॉप एंड नॉट गुड विद लैपटॉप इन वन ग्रुप. Same with paper. Good with paper, not good with paper in the other group. So even though you're gonna say, you know what, TK, we made sure that all the good and bad are in both the groups, so we mix them up. Again, this does not solve the problem. You know what, there are still people uncomfortable with the laptop in the laptop group, and there's still uncomfortable people with paper in the paper group. So what happens? The idea is, you know what, दोनों group के अंदर मसला आ गया. So क्योंकि दोनों group के अंदर मसला है ना, it's gonna balance the other group. इफ ऐसा होता कि एक ग्रुप के अंदर मसले होते दूसरे ग्रुप का मसले नहीं होते, तो ऑब्वियसली यार प्रॉब्लम, बट क्योंकि दोनों ग्रुप के अंदर मसले हैं, सो द मसले इन बीइंग द बोथ ऑफ द ग्रुप्स, इट काइंड ऑफ मेक्स इट फेयर. वहां भी मसले वहां भी मसले, सो एट द एंड ऑफ द डे मसलों की वजह से रिजल्ट का डिफरेंस नहीं आएंगे. लैपटॉप एंड पेपर पेंसिल की वजह से ही डिफरेंस है, क्योंकि दोनों के लिए मसला है, सो द मसला बैलेंसेस ईच अदर्स आउट. That's how they do it. They don't solve the matter entirely. You make sure करते हैं कि दोनों मसले in easier terms. So yeah, क्या कहता मैं, yeah. So let's suppose half of you are the laptop group, half of you are the paper pencil group, right? Right. So whatever you write on the laptop, उसके बाद you go to see your doctor, and जो doctor की meeting होती है is gonna be a standard doctor meeting, right? Um, he's gonna ask you the problems, right? Ask you क्या क्या मसला है, the standard doctor meeting. उसके बाद वहाँ physical exam होता है. Paper pencil group के साथ भी यही होता है, right? Whatever you write in the paper, afterwards you go to see your doctor, regular doctor meeting. So what we're trying to compare here, we're trying to compare things. सबसे पहले कौन इंसान सबसे ज्यादा लिखता है, पेपर पे सबसे ज्यादा चीजें लिखी गई हैं या लैपटॉप पे? दिस इज गोना टेल यू कि सबसे ज्यादा कौन सा मीडियम इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए. नंबर 2, पेपर को लैपटॉप पेपर को डॉक्टर से फेस टू फेस कंडीशंस पे कंपेयर करेंगे एंड लैपटॉप को भी फेस टू फेस कंडीशन से कंपेयर करेंगे, क्योंकि ऑब्वियसली यू वांट टू कंपेयर टू द फेस टू फेस कंडीशन एज वेल, क्योंकि दैट्स द कंट्रोल कंडीशन एक तरीके से, इफ इट मेक सेंस, क्योंकि यू वांट टू मेक श्योर एट द एंड ऑफ द डे कि यू नो व्हाट नॉर्मल से कितना अलग है. So they will compare three areas, as in,
Yes.
yeah, बोलो दोबारा बोलो, yeah,
What will a laptop or a paper will make a difference?
क्या कह रही हो?
I'm asking like why are they using laptop and paper? What like is there gonna be a difference?
That's what they want to find out. Which medium is the most comfortable? All right, so they want to find this out. Do you tell the most symptoms on the laptop or on the piece of paper or face to face? So they want to find this out, number one. Number two, uh, they also want to make sure that, for example, the people, they want to make sure that, you know what, they don't want to see कि हो सकता है कि the more they come to the clinic often, उसकी वजह से भी the more open they are about with the doctor. हो सकता है ना, you come to new to the doctor, first time you're not open to the doctor, it's a complete stranger के साथ, क्या पता कि तुम कम information बताओगे. So that's some extraneous variable they control to make sure कि you know what, this previous exposure to doctors वाला scene ना है. And they also asked this questions: the number of sexual partners the patient had in the 12 weeks. This is a very personal question. Now, this is what they want to check with question number 3. ये कहाँ पे इन्फॉर्मेशन बताएगा, क्या ये डॉक्टर को फेस टू फेस बताएगा या पेपर के अंदर बताएगा या लैपटॉप के अंदर बताएगा, क्योंकि दिस इज अ वेरी पर्सनल इन्फॉर्मेशन. सो दे वांट टू नो टू थिंग्स, कितने सिम्टम बताता है और कितनी पर्सनल चीजें बताता है, राइट. सो एट द एंड ऑफ द डे यू फाउंड दिस, the patients wrote more symptoms on the computer and the laptop. On the laptop and the paper questionnaire as compared to how many symptoms they tell face to face. So obviously, if you want to gather more symptoms of the people, the result says that you know what, you don't ask them face to face, you give them a laptop or you give them a questionnaire. So yeah, but if you want to find out the personal information, जो वो sensitive होती है, right? जो बहुत confidential होती है. If you want to find that information out, obviously the results indicated कि वो डॉक्टर को कभी तो face to face नहीं बताएगा. सबसे ज्यादा पर्सनल इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट द सेक्सुअल पार्टनर्स वर फाउंड इन द कंप्यूटर ग्रुप फर्स्ट. फिर सेकंड नंबर पे पेपर क्वेश्चनर वाला ग्रुप आता है. सो दिस इंडिकेट्स कि यू नो व्हाट, इफ यू आर a patient who has personal information who is not comfortable to tell the doctor लेकिन बताना लाजमी है for your treatment, you should be given a laptop. अगर लैपटॉप में तो पेपर पेंसिल लाजमी होना चाहिए. There's no way you're gonna be comfortable telling the doctor face to face. So yeah. So at the end, which is better? At the end, if you wanna gather more symptoms, you can use paper or laptop. But if you wanna gather more personal symptoms, you should have the computer at the end, right? So that's what they found out. So this is highly applicable, right? Especially when you're dealing with patient with urinary tract infection, क्योंकि obviously sensitive मामला. So they will be more comfortable. People who have urinary infections, people who have sexual dysfunctions, people who have infection sensitive places, whatever, right? People with sensitive cases, उनको laptop or paper pencil दे दो. This is going to be an application, right? So it's highly applicable in that regard. Is this study generalizable? नहीं, we have discussed only English people, right? Culture bias आ सकता है, हो सकता है कि किसी और मुल्क के अंदर कोई और results आएंगे. Some cultures are more open than the others. हो सकता है हमारे मुल्क के अंदर ये experiment करना शुरू हो जाएंगे. So the females may not be allowed to participate in the study without a male attendant, right? So जिसके से results अलग आना शुरू हो जाएंगे. So again, culture bias तो है, generalizability यहाँ पे नहीं है. Is this study replicable? As in, can we do this experiment all over again, right? The same manner, yes. If we have the same questions, right? We can give the exact same questions to the people and they may fill it out on the laptop or they may fill it out on the piece of paper or they may answer these questions face to face with the doctor if we had the exact number of questions. So it can be replicated. Is this experiment valid? As in, did this experiment collect the correct results, or were these results taken to be a bit of salt? Well, yes, you're right. Okay, you know what? The illiteracy of the participant, whether they're comfortable with using a laptop, may be a factor they did not consider. Because 1992 के अंदर not everyone had access to computers. So हो सकता है कि you know what, these people may not be comfortable with a laptop, right? So this problem may be playing out in your result, which reduces the validity of the study. Also, it's a self-report, right? People are supposed to write their things down by themselves. So they're supposed to answer these questions by themselves. So ho sakta hai ki, you know what, to present a socially desirable image, a good image, they might write wrong symptoms or they might write wrong answers or they might fake their answers for any other purpose. So there is a demand characteristics factor involved yahan pe. So again, reduces the validity. Random allocation, you make sure that you know what, not one group is not outbalancing the other. So you make sure that random allocation and all participants are scattered in all the groups. So this kind of increases the control. उसके अलावा is it ethical? Yes, right to withdrawal था. Yes, हमें उनके नाम नहीं पता था, confidentiality था. Yes, और harm कोई नहीं मिला लोगों को, right? So it is ethically sound. Was there a level of control? Yes. Paper, pencil, whatever the group was, laptop wale, you got the same questions. Doesn't matter what you answered them on. So you got the same questions at the end. So this is also a control. Uske alawa, now we come on to the other factors, right? Is it nature or is it individual situational? This is completely the results indicate this is situational. Because if you're given the laptop situation, तुम्हारी number of symptoms and तुम्हारा openness to personal information अलग होगा. If you're given a questionnaire, तुम्हारा openness Two personal symptoms अलग हुआ. So this is a situational factor. Culture bias we have discussed. Is it reductionist? As in, do you think this experiment is focusing on very few factors and neglecting the other? Well, yes, you can say, you know what, uh, they क्या कहते हैं, they might be neglecting that. For example, they might have neglected who has computer competency. So this is a problem. As I said, computer competency इन्होंने नहीं देखा. So they're investigating very few factors. Number two, हो सकता है कि you know what, the sexual partners वाला question, this might give you a personal insight. But हो सकता है कि there could be more questions to investigate personal information. So there could have been more question added, right? So you might say in that regard, this reduction is because it's overlooking multiple factors which could have influenced these results. So if you feel that way, it is reductionist, that they overlook many factors that might influence these results. All in all, summary here. 69 patients were interviewed using a questionnaire or laptop computer, जो भी है, and they're randomly allocated. So they write their case history on a paper or computer. Afterwards, they go to a doctor and उनके साथ appointment होता है. So the data compared कि सबसे ज़्यादा symptoms किस पे बताते हैं and सबसे जो personal information होता है sexual partner वाला वो किस पे बताते हैं. At the end of the day, the computer gets more sensitive information out, and at the end of the day, the paper and the computer both gets the most symptoms out. But if you want to go with the personal symptoms, go with the computer. So yeah, so that's it for the study. I don't guess there's much more to it. Okay, so one strength and one weakness, as I said, okay, this is the culture bias study, right? One strength is that it's highly controlled, in the sense that all the participants have the same medical condition. हो सकता है कि you know half of them have urinary infection, half of them have broken bones. अगर ऐसा होता तो it won't be fair, क्योंकि broken bones वाले would naturally be more open and more personal as compared to the urinary tract infection. So you make sure that everyone have the same medical condition. So you control the participant variables by, like that. All right, evaluate psych. All right, so this is going to be the evaluation of the entire section we have discussed so far, right? हमने कर चुके हैं. So now we're going to talk about the third section, the last section of the first chapter of health psychology, misusing healthcare services. Misusing healthcare services. I don't know. This section is a bit weird because it doesn't tell you how people misuse healthcare services. At least not the first one. The other two, I can understand, but the first experiment we're gonna do, the delay one, I don't understand how they misuse healthcare services. Anyways, this section name is misusing healthcare services, and yeah, इसके अंदर तीन concepts हैं. So first off is delay. Delay. All right, it's a famous experiment by Safer, right? So Safer will do a study to find out कि भाई, why do people delay seeking medical treatment with the doctors? For example, if you have COVID symptoms, right? Nah, smell नहीं आ रही. Why would you delay going to the doctor? बहुत सारे factors हो सकते हैं. And Safer wants to find this out. So to find out the answer to this question, क्या करता है? Safer goes to 4 hospitals. Yes, 4 hospitals. Again, 4 hospitals may not be enough. 4 hospitals के अंदर भी लोग सिर्फ 93 मिले, and females के ratios आता है. Right, so again, you can say this is a very small sample, it's a very gender biased sample, right? So may not be generalizable, लेकिन फिर भी experiment बहुत काम का है. So Safer wants to find out the delay. Why do people delay? सबसे पहले, to find out why do people delay, he needs to make sure he is adequately explaining what does delay mean. What do you mean by delay? So Safer कहता है, you know what, delay is this one. The day you get the first symptom till the day you go to the doctor is the delay. Makes sense, obviously. पहला, the day you cough your first cough till the day you go to the doctor is gonna be the delay, right? But Safer कहता है, you know what, delay के अंदर भी 3 stages of delay आते हैं: appraisal, illness, and utilization. So Safer कहता है appraisal delay is this delay जहाँ पे, let's suppose we talk about COVID, right? COVID के अंदर the first symptom is, for example, common symptoms हो सकता है या fever. बाकी सब जो symptoms होते हैं. Let's suppose you have a fever. Appraisal delay क्या होगा? The first day you have a fever, right? till the day you figure out that there's something actually wrong with you. हो सकता है कि बहुत से लोग बीमार होते होंगे but they don't take it seriously, right? They brush it off. कुछ भी नहीं है, मामूली है, जुकाम है, पास हो जाएगा. It's not COVID, right? Appraisal delay is gonna be the day till you get the fever, till you actually figure out yourself, go, there's something wrong with me, right? So it's taking the things seriously. It's figuring out there's something wrong. That's gonna be the appraisal delay. The day you realize you know what, you're in trouble. That's gonna be the appraisal delay. Illness delay is that delay जहाँ पे from the day you realize in trouble till the day you decide to go to a doctor. ठीक है? Again, the day you realize you're in trouble till the day you decide to go to a doctor, right? I'm explaining this in easier words, but it's a proper terminology here. Number of days since the end of appraisal delay till the day you decide to go to see a doctor. हो सकता है कि बहुत सारे people realize कि they're in trouble, but they still don't decide कि they're go to a doctor. Not हो सकता है कि they figure कि घर में बैठ के सही कर लेंगे, or we go to a pharmacy and buy medicines and घर में बैठ के सही कर देंगे, right? So deciding to go to a doctor may not be same as actually going to a doctor. And this brings us to stage three, utilization delay. Utilization delay is gonna be the number. It's gonna be the delay. The day you decide to go to a doctor, till you actually go to a doctor. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल घर में अम्मी अबू कह रहे हैं भाई वो बीमार हो यार कुछ करो. So you say to अम्मी अबू ठीक है यार अम्मी अबू I'll go to Akhan. The day you say these words, till the day you go to Akhan actually is gonna be the utilization delay, right? So that's how Safer divides delay into three stages. Appraisal, symptom पहले कब आता है? Till the day you realize you're in actual trouble. Number two, the day you realize in trouble till the day you decide to go to a doctor. And number three, the day you decide to go to a doctor till the day you decide to actually step foot inside the hospital, right? So that's gonna be the delay. Is delay के concept का ना कोई मसला तो नहीं है? Like, do you all understand what these three stages of delay signify? Or like you want me to explain any of the concept again? All right. So CI के हिसाब से you need to learn these delay, right? ये याद करना लाजमी है क्योंकि these are Safer's concept. This is important for exams. They ask you in exams. All right. So Safer doesn't stop here. Safer wants to find out different reason for different stages of delay. Okay, भाई appraisal delay आता क्यों है? Why do people take long to figure out why they're in trouble? Illness delay आता क्यों है? Why do people take long to make decisions even though they know they're ill? And number three, why don't people go to doctors as soon as they decide to go to doctors? Time क्यों लगाते हैं doctor actually जाने में? What are the reasons? He's gonna find out. So this is an exam question, right? What is member appraisal delay? So obviously तुम्हें appraisal भी पूछ सकते हैं, total delay भी पूछ सकते हैं. Any type of delay can be asked यहाँ पे. Bharat. So please learn those things. So yeah, Safer study. Safer कहता है कि भाई different delay के अंदर different factors आते हैं. He says that you know what, appraisal delay के अंदर till the is the delay, you know what, till the day you have first symptoms till the day you realize you're ill. Appraisal delay has many factors. हो सकता है you may not realize you're ill because you are not conscious of your symptoms. So lack of monitoring आ सकता है. हो सकता है कि you have a cough for 2 days but you realize on the third day, oh wait, I have cough. So lack of monitoring, lack of attentiveness. You might have appraisal delay because you don't give importance to symptoms. Lack of monitoring is you don't realize you have symptoms. ये वाला is lack of importance you're giving to symptoms. You know you have symptoms, but you don't take them seriously. Frequency, location, severity of the symptoms. हो सकता है कि the cough is not वो गला फाड़ने वाला cough, it's a mild cough, so you don't take it seriously, right? हो सकता है cough हमेशा रात को आती होगी, हर दिन दोबारा पूरे दिन में नहीं आती, you don't take it seriously. हो सकता है कि let's talk about infection. हो सकता है infection जो है is like on the क्या कहते हैं on in a very small area on the elbow, right? It's not on the sole of your foot जो हमेशा जमीन पे लगता है दर्द होता है. It's not in your eye. हो सकता है कि शक्ल की infection, the location of the infection, you will take more seriously. आँख के करीब होती, you go to a doctor for it. But if it's on the elbow, you know what? It doesn't matter, doesn't bother you that much. So location of the problem also has significance. Lack of awareness is that you don't even know what the symptoms are of COVID. तो तुम्हें symptoms हो होंगे, you don't even realize you have COVID, right? family pressure. Family is gonna say कि you don't have anything, कोई मसला नहीं है, you know what, तुम तुम overreact कर रहे हो, तो this is going to impact you whether you realize you're ill or not. So these are factors. Illness is there. The day you decide to go to a doctor, from the day you are in trouble. What causes you from deciding to go to a doctor? Number one, if you feel that you can treat the illness yourself, you will never decide to go to a doctor. देसी टोटके लगाओगे घर बैठ के इलाज करोगे अपना. Number two, if you feel that uh, the illness is not that severe. If you know, okay, you have illness, yes, you know that, okay, I am a problem, but what type of problem you're in? If you're in a bit of problem or you're in a big problem. So depending on what your definition of problem is, you will or will not go to a doctor. If you feel that the problem is not that big of a problem, you won't go to a doctor. You won't decide to go to a doctor. If you feel that, even though I have a big problem, but the doctor जो मुझे इलाज देगा ना, that is not gonna help me. It's gonna just prolong. For example, you have cancer. You know you have cancer, right? But you don't go to a doctor. Illness is like a classic example. You're gonna say, what, I'm gonna die anyways. If they give me treatment, they're just prolonging my death. So even though the end result is gonna be death, there's no use seeking going to a doctor. So the treatment care about the beliefs is gonna be important. Fear about the illness. If you fear that, if you feel that illness is not gonna kill me, I'm not scared, you won't go to a doctor. Utilization there. Why do you not go to a doctor even though you want to go to a doctor? हो सकता है some people don't have time and money, right? Some people don't know where the doctor is because they're in a new location, the familiarity नहीं है, and these other variables play a factor. For example, a woman, single woman might want to go to a doctor, but she cannot go to a doctor because उसके साथ मेल वो नहीं है, कंपनिंग पर्सन की जॉब पे जा रहा होगा, सो औरत को मर्द के लिए इंतजार करना पड़ेगा, सो शी कैन गो टू डॉक्टर. हो सकता है कि क्या कहते हैं, एज, शी इज वेरी यंग, शी नीड्स अनदर बिग पर्सन टू कम विद हर, ये कंसेंट 18 से नीचे वाले बच्चों को पेरेंट्स से चाहिए होता है. सो इवन दो शी वांट्स टू गो टू, द पेरेंट्स आर नॉट सीरियस बात, तो वो खुद से नहीं जा सकती. एथनिसिटी हो सकता है, रेशियल डिस्क्रिमिनेशन हो जिसके से वहाँ पे डॉक्टर वहाँ पे वो नहीं अवेलेबल होगा. एजुकेशन के अंदर अवेयरनेस आता है, मेरिटल स्टेटस के अंदर ऐसा सेट, इन सम कंट्रीज यू नॉट अलाउड टू रोम विद सिंगल, women are not allowed to roam without a male partner, whatever. जिसके वजह से travel restrictions आ सकती है. So these conditions tell you it's not up to the people. People want to go to a doctor, utilization के अंदर, but the other factor that hampers their decision. लेकिन ये जो बाकी factors, I feel this is the responsibility of the patient itself. These factors may not be the responsibility of the patient. Bharat. So this is what Safer found. You don't have to learn every appraisal. You don't have to learn every utilization. You don't have to learn every illness delay causes. You can learn some of this, some of this, right? But not all of them. Is not mandatory. All right. So this is for your general information. I don't think you're supposed to learn this. Okay. Exam का तो नहीं पूछते. Exam का तो तुम ये लिख दो और ये लिख दो काफी है. But this is the quantitative data that Safer gathered, and this is the qualitative data that Safer gathered. So Safer has both data in the end. So basically, ये ढूंढता है कि average appraisal delay कितना होता है, appraisal illness कितना होता है, appraisal utilization delay होता है, right? You can just read it on your own. Okay, it's not that important in terms of exam. So overall, Safer का जो summary है, 3 stages of delay. उनके थोड़ा बहुत brief description लिख देना, right? And her delay का causes लिख देना. ठीक है, उसके अलावा that's it. This question, ठीक है ना, one another theory to explain why people delay seeking treatment. This इसका जो क्वेश्चन का जवाब है ना, even though ये सेफर के क्वेश्चन के अंदर पूछा गया था, इसका जवाब जो सेफर के क्वेश्चन से नहीं आएगा, इसका जवाब पूरे फर्स्ट चैप्टर से नहीं आएगा, इसका जवाब सेकंड चैप्टर से आएगा. So when we do the second chapter, I don't know, if I don't do it, someone remind me to, the slide 55 of chapter number 1, I'm supposed to readdress that again. So say first experiment is not generalizable, as I told you, number of people. It's a field experiment, right? So Safer goes to real life hospital to kind of collect the data. Those are the real life hospital. There's so many factors that is not controlled, so it reduces internal validity, right? And people are gonna be interviewed about why you delay, what causes you to delay. So people might not be honest about their delaying. हो सकता है they might lie that they don't delay, तो हो सकता है people might lie, to demand characteristics आ सकते हैं. Is it applicable? Yes, क्योंकि you know now why people delay. These factors you cannot control, right? But these factors you can. So you know what? However, you can spread awareness so that appraisal delay doesn't happen. So that's why you can see COVID awareness ads, whatever, right? So you can spread awareness. It is applicable in times of pandemic, etc. Ethically, the patient's name was hidden, confidential था, no harm done, right to withdraw वगैरह सब था. Is it individual situational? As I said, के आखिरी वाला factors are situational, but these factors ये वाला may be individual, right? So appraisal delay or illness delay के जो causes हैं, these are individual factor based, most of them. Utilization delay का most of them are situational based. Culture bias हो सकता है क्योंकि he did this in 4 clinics in I guess England or what. Yeah, England नहीं है, but yeah, he did it in the in the West. So collectivist culture के अंदर इसका result अलग आ सकते हैं, तो culture bias का भी concept element आ सकता है. All right, discuss the advantages and disadvantages of interviews to gather data. Who from? Okay, ये वाला question अभी हम करेंगे, right? So I have 2 minutes remaining in the meeting, so I'm going to restart the meeting and we're going to continue the lecture.